Hey everybody, this is Marcellus Troy Alexander. I'm excited tonight. This is Inspiration with Troy Alexander Live. I'm excited tonight. We have an amazing guest that I am honored to have on our broadcast tonight. Every week, y'all, listen, we come on to encourage you to follow your dream and to never stop dreaming. Our motto is dream, take that step and walk with purpose into your destiny. I'm telling you tonight, listen, stay connected with us. We're on Facebook, Troy Alexander. Instagram at Pick by Design. I love taking photos at Pick by Design. Also on YouTube, Inspiration with Troy Alexander, and our nonprofit, calltoinspire.org. Calltoinspire.org. Listen, again, I want to encourage you. We just wrote a book of poetry to inspire you called Poems Inspiring Dreams, Purpose, and Destiny. You can get it on Amazon.com. It's pinned to my Facebook page by Marcellus Troy Alexander. And tonight, we have a phenomenal guest, everybody. Listen, she is the reigning Mrs. New Jersey International 2021. She's also a first grade teacher, yes, advocate for Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I can't wait to hear her journey on that. She founded the IBD Heroes and now shares the stories of Crohn's and colitis patients all over the world to help bring awareness to IBD. And you're going to learn what that is shortly. Listen, she has raised over $1,500 for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Let's welcome Sarah Campbell. How are you, Sarah?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor.
Oh, listen, the honor is ours. And we thank you so much for sharing of your time, your journey, your inspiration, your joy, your greatness. Thank you so much for sharing that with us on our broadcast tonight. First, I want to just say, listen, I read your bio and I saw a whole lot of posts on Instagram and Facebook. And to me, the word that comes to me is strength. Can you just share a little bit about how you've come to be so strong? Because everybody want to hear her journey, but strength is something that I saw in you. Can you tell me just a little bit how you went from being diagnosed with Crohn's disease, now you're Mrs. My goodness, New Jersey International. Tell me about strength and that being a part of your journey.
Absolutely. So I think really, I can't give credit to myself. I truly think that, especially when I was in the hospital and just at a point where I wasn't sure if I was going to make it home, it's really God. I mean, obviously family and friends and that support system is so huge, you know, family coming to visit you when you're ill in the hospital and getting those text messages and just supportive messages, just knowing that there's people rooting for you at home. But I truly remember at my lowest moments in the hospital, really just going to my devotions and my Bible and praying to God, and he really helped to give me a calm heart and just get me through what I never thought I'd be able to get through. If you had told me 5 years I would land in the hospital, I would have told you I could have never made it out. So it's definitely all credit to God. I have to say that.
Amazing, amazing. So I gotta, because you begin to say about hoping to get out or trying to, so was there moments that you wasn't sure or you were unsure that you would come out of that?
Absolutely. The very first week, I was admitted on a Tuesday evening. They rushed me into the OR probably around 1 a.m. So waking up the next morning in that first week was very difficult. I was extremely malnourished. I had lost about 40 pounds at this point, and I couldn't hold food down. Because of the severe obstruction I had in my intestines, I was just extremely sick. But really the problem was that I was sick for 2 years before this. So they were very concerned after my first surgery because I had a leakage and they couldn't understand what was leaking. And so a week later, they had to go back in. So within that first week, there were a lot of complications and I wasn't allowed to eat. So I continued to get malnourished and we just weren't sure what the outcome was going to be until after I finally had my second surgery. And then it was like, okay, you're able to heal now and, you know, move on.
Wow, so you had 2 surgeries.
Yes, 2. I've had 4 altogether, 2 major surgeries regarding the Crohn's diagnosis and being in the hospital for that.
Wow. Listen, you are a miracle.
Thank
You
you.
are such an inspiration, and you're such a miracle to so many that I mean, you've done so much. And did you again, you talked about how there were moments that you were unsure that you were gonna make it through. But for those who may not know what Crohn's disease is, can you just give us a little bit, just a brief picture so they can get a chance to sort of understand?
Absolutely. So Crohn's and colitis disease is often referred to as IBD, which is irritable bowel disease. Often you will hear many people say, oh, I have IBS, or I know someone that has IBS. So IBS is not the same thing as IBD. When you have IBS or you are diagnosed with IBS, typically that is because you have some type of food intolerances, or it can be brought on by stress and then it will go away. You'll have periods where you might have some digestive issues, but it never really requires hospitalization. A very simple over-the-counter medication might help you, or just cutting things from your diet will help you. IBD is when you actually have inflammation within your intestines, your colon, your digestive tract, esophagus, and it also comes with an array of symptoms. So it really can be hard and difficult to diagnose. Not one person's Crohn's will look like another person's, and same thing with colitis. So IBD is when you actually have inflammation within your intestines, and it does start to become dangerous because what happens is your intestines, wherever there may be inflammation, the walls will start to thicken due to that inflammation and scar tissue. And over time, it can lead to a lot of problems, which was my issue, which was a severe bowel obstruction.
Now tell me what first of all, this happened when? How long ago?
So I started experiencing problems in 2018 is when I started really having just some pain and I knew something wasn't right. It was not that severe. So for the first couple months, I just chalked it off to something I ate, but then I realized there was a pattern and it was the same every time. It was about once a month, really severe pain. So I went to my primary care doctor in the fall of 2018 just to see, what was going on. It was just from there a very long journey of not figuring out what was going on with me. And I was just working endlessly and tirelessly to find a doctor that could tell me what was wrong. And I was also misdiagnosed, and some doctors misread, unfortunately, some of my reports, which led me to get sicker. So it was just a very long battle, but it all started really in the fall. I'd even say the end of the summer of 2018.
Wow, wow. And for those who may not understand it all, what impact did this have on your daily life, if at all?
So often the reason they say this is an invisible illness, along with a lot of chronic illnesses, is because often you can go to work, you can look fine, but you just truly feel like you're dying inside. So your quality of life is very low because, especially for Crohn's and colitis patients, something you are so naturally able to do. When you're hungry, you go pick up food. When you have Crohn's or colitis, you can't just go run to a store and grab a snack or go to a fast food joint and grab something to eat. You really become essentially terrified of food. And especially when you have Crohn's or colitis and you have inflammation inside of your body, the healthier you eat sometimes, it can actually work against you because the more the high fiber of the food, the more difficult it's going to be for your body to digest. So for my instance, the reason I kept getting so sick is because I eat extremely healthy. I was eating very high fiber foods, which at the time was working against me because they were difficult to digest because of the inflammation. So it really was a humbling experience because you will sit around people and quite often we have food and meals together, like over the holidays, because it's something you do with your family and friends. It brings together, a sense of community. And I would just be sitting at a dinner table watching everybody else eat and just being really just jealous and envious of them. And I hate to say the word jealous, but it came to that point where I was just so sad that I couldn't eat food. And even though I was waking up every day, the symptoms were so awful that as soon as I woke up and was done with my day, I'd come home and I'd be in bed. And then my biggest symptom was vomiting. So if I was vomiting, I would go days without eating. And then, I'd be on the couch recovering. It was almost like having the stomach bug every single week, and it just would not go away.
Wow. Wow. Well, listen, I saw your Instagram page, and in your description, I love what you said was you are not only a wife, you're not only a teacher, but you're a warrior. You're an IBD warrior. Why did you choose that word as part of your? I love it, but why did you choose that word?
So I've always kind of considered myself a warrior. I, grew up with a single mom and my dad, and, he lived in a different home. So it was just a lot of back and forth between my parents and a lot of visiting to babysitters. I did not have any siblings growing up. When you come from a little bit of a divorced family, sometimes finances are not always the best. So, I grew up with a lot of love, but, I didn't maybe always grow up with the same support other kids might have had. So I've had to work really hard for everything in life. Nothing, not one thing has been handed to me. And that goes for everything, even teaching. I was at one point told I was not going to be a great teacher and pretty much I should choose a different career. I failed my praxis test multiple times. So I feel like when it came to this situation, every day that I was sick, I still would not miss a day of work. I would get up and I would go teach my first graders, even with a bloated tummy, even feeling extremely nauseous. And to go through all of that with no answers for 2 years and then finally end up in the hospital and come home from that, instead of having a pity party for myself, I started reading a lot of stories about Crohn's and colitis patients. And that's just all I kept seeing across the board was we are warriors, because every day we're living with a disease that really is invisible. Nobody can see it. The only person that can truly understand the battle is you, but you're getting up every day and you're still rocking life with this incurable disease that you're going to have to manage for the rest of your life. So I think that's kind of where I feel the word warrior comes in.
I love it. You are definitely a warrior, Sarah. Listen, everybody, clap your hands, please, because she is such a warrior.
Thank you.
So amazing. You're such a fighter. I want to ask you one more. Where do you think you learned how to fight? Right? Because not everybody, has the courage to be able to, and we're not there yet in the interview, but yes, like to even bring awareness to it and put it on a national platform. So we're going to get there. But where do you think, my goodness, this fight came from? Because not everybody has it, right? Some people just say, you know what, it's too much for me, right? But where deep down do you think this fight came from?
I am typically someone who never gives up. So that's kind of always been an attitude I've had in life. So like I mentioned, with teaching or with anything, any goal that I've ever really set for myself, I've accomplished. It might not be right away, but it's a goal. So when I have a goal, I stick to it and I want to fulfill it. With that being said, I think that a lot of my strength comes from my support system. I truly think that if I didn't have such an amazing family and such amazing friends, sometimes you do kind of get that hopeless feeling like, what am I fighting for? But really, when I looked at my 7-year-old beautiful daughter, Marin, and my amazing husband, Justin, and then I see my amazing family and friends, you're not only realize you're not just fighting for yourself at this point, but I'm fighting to be here for my students, right? My students need me. They need Mrs. Campbell in their lives to help them become the best learners they can be. My daughter needs me. My husband needs me. So it's really just it didn't become about me anymore. It was, I have a job on earth here to do. And obviously God is not done with me yet. So I need to take this situation and turn it into something positive, because it's also been a really great way to help me heal through this as well, because it's forced me to talk about a really, really difficult time. And I had no one to talk to going through this. I'm very young. I'm 35 years old. Often, when you are diagnosed with Crohn's, you've already been diagnosed with it. You've been living with it. And nobody I know had it. So it was very isolating for me. And I just was like, I don't want anybody else to feel isolated. I want them to have a place to go to know that there's so many other people dealing with the same issues they are, because it's very lonely.
Wow. Everybody listen, I'm telling you, this is the phenomenal, amazing, super Wonder Woman, Sarah Campbell. I'm telling you, we're so proud of you and all that you've done. Listen, not only like did she go through this for the years? And of course, she's still dealing. But she comes home, and you decide to become the founder of this IBD Heroes. Tell us about this platform. Tell us, why did you decide to, again, you talked a little bit about it, but where did the inspiration come to put it on a national platform that you wanted to fund and be the founder of and just sort of advocate for?
Really, that just stemmed from, again, really feeling isolated. And I thought, what can I do that's something that's attainable for me? Because as a full-time wife, mom, first grade teacher, I said, what can I do that's going to reach people on a national level worldwide that I can start from home? And I just was, thinking to myself, wow, wouldn't it be really cool if I could create a social media platform where I could feature Crohn's and colitis, warriors from all over the world, and really create a hub on social media for people to go to so they can meet one another, interact with one another. Also, like I said, it's very difficult because symptoms will be extremely different, especially if you have colitis or Crohn's disease. Sometimes there's a combination of both diagnoses. So it's really been amazing because it's created a hub for people on Instagram and Facebook to come together and say, I have Crohn's and colitis, but also to share my story. 2 years ago, when I was going through all of this, I didn't know if I was going to make it out. I didn't know if I would end up with an ostomy bag. I didn't know what my situation was going to look like. So I feel like too, when you find people that are going through similar things, you just are able to connect with them, and you almost feel a sense of relief because it's like, oh my gosh, it's not even that you want to be healed in that moment, but you want someone that understands the things you're going through, the things that you've lived with that other people in your life might not have any clue about, just simply because they don't have those issues. And it's really been amazing. I've been able to feature right now over 50 people from all over the world. Some have been from Australia. I featured a 13-year-old girl from Boston, Massachusetts. That is amazing. She's a dancer. So I think it's also shedding light on the fact that we're not just Crohn's and colitis patients, and we're not letting our disease take hold of our life. There's a story for all of us to tell, and we're still living our life, but we're also doing it while battling a chronic illness that can be absolutely debilitating at times. And I really wanted to just make people that have Crohn's and colitis disease, or really essentially any chronic illness warrior, feel amazing and just feel like, wow, here's a place where my voice can be heard and my story can be shared, and I don't have to feel ashamed of it.
Oh, Sarah, wow, amazing. I see you on these national platforms even bigger than you ever been on before. Like, you are this motivational speaker. Like, I see you everywhere. Like, I got to get you on TED Talk or something, but whatever.
One of my goals is to be a TED Talk speaker. So I'm there. All right. You'll see me there one day. We just don't know when.
Listen, I didn't even know that, but I saw it. See, so we're in agreement, right?
Yes.
Wow, I love that about you. You're just so inspiring, so determined, such a warrior, and I love that about you. So listen, I want to ask you, because you talked about your students and your daughter and your family. What do you hope that your daughter, even your students, but I'll make it more personal. What do you hope that your daughter sees in you to take from you through this experience?
So one thing I really appreciate about my daughter is I've grown up with women who have not always been very supportive. Hence why I really decided to join pageantry. I wanted to find women who were like me, that had goals, but they weren't trying to tear other women down in the process, and they were happy for you and they supported you and empowered you. And, you see these moms wearing multiple hats, their wives, they're entrepreneurs, they're motivational speakers. They've gone through I just remember being at nationals this summer, and I looked at these women and I heard their stories. And when I finally was able in rehearsals to hear their platform statements, I was just blown away that I was among this group of amazing women. And so for me, it's teaching my daughter young that if you are not surrounding yourself with girls who lift and empower and support you, then you're not hanging around the right group of girls. Because many years I was so bullied that actually used to be my pageant platform before I was diagnosed with Crohn's and colitis, because as a teacher, one thing that really prompted me to become an educator was the fact that I was really bullied to the point where I had a lot of mental health issues in my junior and senior, college careers and high school. And I just really want my daughter and my students to understand that you can come from unfortunate situations, but if you set a goal for yourself and you're willing to work hard, you can accomplish anything you set your mind to, but it's also going to be up to you. You can't rely on anybody else to do that work for you.
Oh, you have come through so much. Say, oh my goodness, wow, I didn't know you were bullied.
Oh,
That,
severely, yes, severely, to the point where, I think that it's something that's important to say. I mean, there was definitely some moments, especially when I was going into becoming a freshman in high school and I was in middle school, I was bullied so bad that, I had my moments where I thought, why am I even here? I don't want to say that I had some suicidal thoughts, but there was definitely some moments where I did, because when you're young and you have divorced parents and you don't have siblings at home and it is just you, and then you're also fighting to find friends or a support system that will be there for you, I just really didn't have that. And I would come home often to an empty house because my mom was working two jobs, and if it wasn't my time to visit my dad, and I really would have a hard time. And it took me a long time to learn that I am an amazing person. I just needed to surround myself with people who also believed in me.
wow, wow, Sarah. Oh my goodness. You are changing lives
Thank you.
tonight. People are hearing you and like, wow. I mean, can you share with us again if it's too much to go back there? I don't want to, but can you share what you were being bullied about?
Sure. I dealt with a lot, especially in junior high school. I dealt with just a lot of sometimes because of my family situation, the school I went to, that wasn't the popular family situation. A lot of it was
Gotcha.
two parents at home, married, financially a little bit more comfortable, maybe, and not all of them, but just, compared to my situation and a lot of the students I was going to school with. And one year I was bullied so badly by a girl, just strictly, I think a lot of it was jealousy because of, how girls get, they don't want you being friends with their friend. And it's a lot of cattiness. It can be a lot of drama. That's when boys start to have crushes on girls or girls start to have crushes on boys, vice versa. So at the time, I think the boy that maybe liked me a little bit, this girl really just made my life extremely difficult to the point where I did not want to wake up and go to school. And then the next year, I actually was severely bullied by a boy. And that's right around when AOL Instant Messenger started becoming popular. And he cyberbullied me so badly to the point where my mom had to go to the school because he was saying extremely hateful things, such as, you're a waste of life. You shouldn't be here anymore. And my mom had to go to the school. And so it really was just more in junior high school. But then I was so crushed and my confidence was so low that high school was really just a big learning experience for me because I was trying to find my spot in the world. And I even started dealing with a little bit of bullying in the workplace when I was a waitress, just girls that wanted to tear you down and they just made fun of your accomplishments. Like it was just nobody ever wanted to be happy. And a lot of times women like myself, who often do find themselves in the spotlight because we do a lot. I was in choir, I was in band, I competed in pageants, I was a gymnast, I was a cheerleader. Often I would find that I couldn't talk about my accomplishments because I was getting either judged or I was getting eye rolled at. And I was just so confused because to me, if you told me something happy about your life and you were my friend, I was happy for you. I wanted to support you in that moment. And it really was a difficult time finding women or girls that were truly happy for you. And really, I feel like up until my late 20s, early 30s is when I finally learned to start speaking up for myself and saying, okay, obviously I need to change the group of people I'm hanging around because they are not making me feel good. Why am I doing this to myself? So it was really just a lot of years of almost feeling like I let people walk over me. I was a people pleaser. I have to have this person like me. Why doesn't this person like me? And it really was a lot of learning from my own experiences, not necessarily being taught them, but just learning on my own accord.
Wow. Wow. Are you writing a book?
No, but hey, listen, I told you I make goals. So on top of my TED talk, maybe I should
Listen,
write a book. Who knows?
you need to write a book or a blog or something. Your journey is so powerful because you've come through so much. And I always ask people, do you think do you think it takes more to come through it or to maintain it? Right? Because I'm always um curious, right? To know like is it the struggle through to the championship, or is it once you reached it, right? To hold on to it. So I ask you, do you find is it easier for you now in terms of your environment, your mental capacity, the ability to stay positive, right? Is it easier now, or do you find it always something that you're conscious of?
I would definitely say I'm conscious of it a little bit, but I would have to say going through those actual moments are a lot tougher than actually finally getting to that finish line, because I'm at a point now in my life where, especially after really life 100% changed for me after going through being diagnosed with a chronic illness that I will have for the rest of my life. And essentially, the surgeon had told my husband, they did not tell me this when I was in the hospital. My husband let it slip by accident. When I was home recovering, he was on the phone, and the surgeon had pulled him aside and said, if your wife had waited 24 hours, she would have gone septic and she would not have made it. It would have taken her life. And so life, just your perspective changes, and things that you used to care about, really petty little things, no longer matter. And it's so much easier for me now. And I get caught up in it. I've been in remission for over a year now. I've been really busy as Mrs. New Jersey. And I've had my moments. I've had my moments where I'm like, oh, today's Monday. But then I snap myself out of it. So I think it's kind of twofold. I think it's something you definitely have to work on, that positive mindset.
Yes.
Once you get there, it's not something that you really, if you start to get lazy, like for me, it was journaling, doing my positive affirmation journaling,
Yes.
and, doing my devotions, spending some time with God in the mornings. And I did find that when I kind of let go of those routines, my days were kind of getting jumbled. So it does take a lot of maintaining, but it's all positive maintaining. Everything that I'm doing is so positive that, whether it's managing my time, getting up a little bit earlier, taking a little more time to, set my priorities straight and set those goals for myself or get my to-do list, they always are beneficial to me. It's never anything that's going to hurt me. So I think that it's kind of a two-way street. I think that getting there was tough, and I think being here now, it can be tough to maintain, but it's obviously a lot easier because I'm also extremely confident in who I am. I know who I am as a woman.
Yes.
I I like who I am as a woman. I'm comfortable with myself and who I am. And at this point, I've just had, and I tell people this all the time, get rid of any negative, toxic things in your life, whether it be family, friends, a work environment, a colleague, get rid of it. Because at the end of the day, you need to work on your mental health and you need to take care of your health, your physical health, mental health, because that's what's most important. When you don't have your mental and physical health, what is there really? Your quality of life is so low. And so it's just really important to stop and really care for yourself and make sure that you're putting yourself first in every situation, even if you're someone like me, or I'm sure like you love to help others, but you're not, they always say you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's probably one of my favorite
Wow.
sayings, because if you're not taking care of yourself, then how am I going to help take care of others?
Wow. Wow. Sarah, oh my goodness. So many wonderful words of inspiration. And I'm just saying, like that to me, there's nothing that you can't achieve.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Whatever
that.
you set your mind to, listen, I'm excited to see what's next for you. So we'll get there. But I'm so excited to see what is, and just so you know, I like you too, Sarah. Just so you know, but anybody never, I like you too. You're amazing and you're phenomenal and just so proud of you. So proud of not only who you are and who you've become, but who you are still becoming. It's amazing and phenomenal. So now, wait a minute. I want to just talk a little bit about this pageantry, right? Because
Yeah.
How many years were you doing pageantry before Mrs. Oh my goodness, New Jersey International? Like from a young child, or did you start late teens? Like when did you begin?
So I was one of those girls that got those postcards that said I could be the next Miss Pennsylvania, or I think at the time, Miss Pennsylvania, Teen Pennsylvania, USA. And I looked at that postcard and I said to my mom, I want to do that and I will have a crown on my head one day. And, my mom was just absolutely amazing. She worked 2 waitressing jobs and was always working so hard. And she helped me with any dream I ever had. So there my amazing single mom was, with 2 waitressing jobs, driving 6 hours to Pittsburgh, spending money on
Wow.
clothes she did not have so that I could try to accomplish that dream. And, because of our financial situation, I did not have money for the best pageant outfits. I did not have money for coaches at the time. I had no idea what I was doing or what I was walking into. But every time I walked away from a pageant, I always found, wow, that was a lot of fun. And there was nothing bad to it, right? Even if I didn't walk away necessarily with the crown on my head,
Right,
I met
right.
really awesome girls and women. I had fun and it wasn't just a fun weekend. So it just always prompted me to go back. And, as I've always explained, I am not someone who gives up. So 21 years in the making, lots of pageants later, my dream finally came true last year. And it was a moment I will just absolutely never, ever forget.
Wow, wow. And listen, again, congratulations. Everybody, listen, she is our Mrs. New Jersey International 2021. My goodness. So wait a minute. Tell me the moment, right? You're coming through the journey of being diagnosed, right? You're going through and you're getting better, you're getting healthy. What prompted you to say, you know what? I want to go for this now? Because you just came through a difficult part of your journey. And I'm like, who then says, I want to go on a national platform?
It's so funny you say that because one of my wonderful directors, Mary, she was just kind of reaching out to me. She knows that I had competed, in pageantry. I actually met her at my very first Mrs. pageant. And she had say, hey, listen, we're looking for contestants. And I just kept saying, I appreciate you thinking of me, but I just need to be home. I need to heal mentally. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, PTSD from everything I had gone through. And physically, I was a mess. I had lost so much weight. I couldn't even sit down for long periods because there was just physically no fat on my body anymore for me to sit comfortably. And I, came home from the hospital with a huge scar on my belly, and I just didn't feel confident or beautiful at the moment coming home from the hospital. I had lost almost all of my hair. And Mary was like, I'm here. And I love Mary and I love Kim, both of my directors. They're very dear friends. I had known them for a while and I really was like intrigued that they had become directors and I could have the opportunity, but I just felt like no. So this was back in September around September when I came home. So by December, I was feeling better. I was getting ready to head back to work and I had started working out. I was trying to gain muscle and get my strength back in my body. And it was just so funny. It was a Saturday in January. The holidays had passed.
Right,
Mary
right.
sent me that last message. She goes, are you sure you don't want to compete? And it was like God said, I swear, I heard a voice in my head said, you need to do this year, Sarah. This is your year. And you have to take this story and share it with the world. And before I knew it, I had sent Mary my headshot and said, yes, oh my goodness, I'm doing it. And at the end of the day too, I knew it would force me to talk about what I went through. And I knew it was going to be important for me to do that because we all know that when we go through something very traumatic, it's so awful to hold everything in. And I knew it would force me to talk about it, but also I could be helping other people that went through the same thing as I did at the same time. So I was like, well, what do I have to lose? I've lost, I haven't really technically won a pageant yet in 21 years. It'll just be another fun weekend. I'll go have some fun with girls and then it'll just be another experience. So never in my wildest dreams did I think that, I'd walk away with the crown, and I'm just very thankful.
Well, you are such an amazing queen, a beautiful queen, a forever queen. And we're so proud of you and
Thank you.
all that you've achieved and what you're going to continue to do 21 years later. And I'm going back thinking about what you just said, like 24 hours, within 24 hours. And listen, God has purpose for you, Sarah. That's all I can say. God
Must,
has so
because
much.
I'm still here, right? So
Yes, he has so much more for you to do. And all I can say is just get ready for even greater. There are doors that you haven't even seen that are going to open for you because I'm telling you, your journey is so amazing. You are so amazing. And we're so proud of you. Oh my goodness. Listen, so I got to ask you now, listen, not only everybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, you placed in the top 16 international.
I'm still just blown away. I'm gonna be very honest about that because sometimes I do like I get goosebumps because when I'm telling you, I was you're pageantry can be intimidating. Any woman is going to sit here and say, "Oh, it can be." We all have that moment where we walk into a room of accomplished, beautiful women. They're all there for the same reason. They're the same caliber of you. You know, you're all there for the purpose of trying to win a crown. So when you walk into a room with that many gorgeous, amazing, accomplished women, it's intimidating. You're like, sometimes I look at me and I'm like, well, what did I do to be here? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's sometimes hard for people to tell me I'm inspirational because at the end of the day, I just feel like I'm me and I don't feel like I do or am anything special. And, you know, I had to go into the mindset of nationals, my very first national competition, that there are so many amazing women here, but you have to keep that mindset that nobody is you. Nobody has your story and nobody has your story to tell but you. And you have to keep that mindset that I am the next queen and I already am a queen. And I'm just going to be here and I'm going to rock it and I'm going to put forth my best self. And whatever the outcome is, as long as I'm just not leaving pageant week feeling like I could have done something different. And my goal was to go, you know, my pageant directors are amazing too. They really didn't put a lot on myself or my Miss New Jersey. It was, what do you want to accomplish at nationals? Do you just want to go and make friends, you know? And Mary and Kim have worked endlessly and so tirelessly to build up our New Jersey pageant system that I looked at them and I said, who knows if I'm going to be doing this again? Let's go for the top 16, right? Obviously, I would love to win, but I want to be realistic here. It's my very first national pageant. Let's go for top 16. Let's put Jersey on the map. Let's make a name for you guys. And we made it happen and I'm still blown away. So I feel like a winner because, you know, essentially, of course, anyone would love to be Mrs. International, and shout out to, you know, Yolanda Sennett, the new Mrs. International 2021. She's amazing and so deserving and I'm so happy for her. And, you know, it just wasn't my time and that's okay because the same thing with this, you know, it kind of becomes cliche in pageantry. I think you hear a lot of girls with the crown say when it's your time and you don't understand it until it finally happens for you. This was my year to be Mrs. New Jersey. It just was. It was my year to share my story. It was my year to, you know, help Mary and Kim. It was just my year. And especially with my Miss New Jersey, Andriana Acosta, we're extremely close. She's like the little sister I've never had. And so it was like we were meant to be this year. And I even remember pageant weekend, Andriana and I pulled up at the same exact moment and we entered the hotel together. And I said, is this a sign? Should we be excited? Are we going to make this happen together this weekend?
Yes.
And, you know, it just happened. I'm still blown away because when I look at the women I stood with on stage, I'm like, how did I make that top 16 out of those 55 women? They were just absolutely amazing.
You are more than enough.
Thank you.
Because you are more than enough. You are beyond you're priceless, you know, and I love that like no one is you, right? There's only one Sarah Campbell, right? There's only one that had that experience, that journey, the strength, you know, what you came through. It's amazing. And so I'm honored. I am so
Yeah.
honored. What I love about you, yes, what I love about you is your transparency. And I gotta just ask you because when you share your story, like you're showing everything, right? You're showing yourself in the hospital room, I believe it was. You're showing yourself, you know, going through that process. not everybody can do that. So I got to ask you, like, how how did you become comfortable or find the strength to be so transparent? Like, it's one thing to talk about it, right? But it's a whole nother level to show it. How did you get to a, why did you do it? And how did you get to that place to be so transparent?
I think that one of the biggest things, especially in the world we live in today, one thing I promised myself was that I was not going to be fake and I was going to be as real as I could. And I don't say that in a negative way. We all love to post the perfect pictures on social media. We always have that great hair day with the good filter,
Right,
the good lighting, and we're
right.
like, okay, I'm posting a
Yes.
selfie. But I think the problem
Yeah,
with social media is we get caught up in that, and we get caught up in the fact that everybody's lives look so perfect on social media, and
they
it's just
do.
simply not true. And there's always going to be the pros and cons, but my goal as a Crohn's patient was to also show my friends, not that nobody believed me when I was, saying I was sick, but I don't think people truly understand that Crohn's and colitis can absolutely kill you. You know, I think, because it's not a huge diagnosis, let's say such as cancer, we hear the word cancer. And of course, immediately you're picturing somebody that has lost all their hair, someone that probably is going to be in and out of the hospital, and you're either going to really come out of cancer and you're going to beat it, or cancer can just take you down. It's just one of those illnesses, unfortunately. And so when you have a chronic illness, something that you might necessarily not see, it can be hard for people to understand. So part of it for me was showing this is simply what Crohn's disease did to me. It almost did take my life. And if you know someone, whether it be Crohn's or colitis, here is how you can support them. Because too, my own family was very guilty of it. Often, a lot of my coworkers, oh my goodness, Sarah, you look so thin, you need to eat. And it's frustrating because trust me, if I could eat, like a burger, I would, but I was terrified to eat food and I couldn't. And so for me, if I'm going to show my life, especially too, as a teacher, I share so much with my students. I explain to them, Mrs. Campbell did not grow up with two parents at home. And I grew up with a divorced, mom and dad. And, I had stepsisters at one point. I had a stepmom. I, spent a lot of time at babysitters' houses, financially growing up. I did not have, a lot of assistance. My mom and dad, worked as hard as they could. And really everything I've done has been because I've made the choice to do so. And so for me, it's important for people to see where I've been, but where I am now, to also motivate them that you can be in the hospital, suffering from Crohn's disease. But just 9 months later, I was standing on a national stage and making the top 16. And so I try to share my stories, even with being bullied, to show, you also are in control of your own life. And I often think sometimes we forget that. And so as soon as I came home from the hospital, people that I had really hoped would at least send me a text message that if they were in the hospital, we had been friends for so long, I would have been like, oh my goodness, what can I do? Are you okay? It was crickets. I didn't even hear from them. And then people that I went to high school with that I kind of had just lost touch with or didn't really speak to, I had people that I never even imagined reaching out to me, sending me gift cards. So I think like when someone dies in your family or you're going through a tragedy, you really truly do learn who your real friends and family are. And I just wanted to cut out anything negative and toxic that wasn't making me happy, because at the end of the day, I was like, I need to take care of myself. So what are the things in my life that are causing me stress? What are the things in my life that are making me upset or not making me feel good? Because I need to get rid of it, because obviously it's causing some issues. Because stress is one of the biggest markers when you have inflammation in your body. It's from stress. And I mean, let's be honest, we all lead very stressful lives. So it was really just coming home and saying, I have to make some changes, and it might make some people unhappy, but my happiness needs to come first.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Love it, Sarah. I love it. I love that. Oh my good. And so listen, you are just an amazing, again, miracle. I mean, to have come through so much and to see you now and to see where you come from. It is such a wonderful, inspiring, amazing journey to see you you and to see you smile and to see your joy and to see your strength. It's wonderful, Sarah. I love it. So we're so proud of you. And listen, I want to ask you, what did this crown, what did what impact did it have upon you? Yes, a beautiful crown. And listen, even when you take it off, Sarah, you still have your crown.
Yes,
It
I
is
do.
so
This is going to be hung in my house. I might even wear it for a while around the house when I have to crown the
wow.
New Jersey, but yes.
Just beautiful. So what impact did this crowning have upon you and your story and your inspiration and your platform? What like did it give you another idea where you could go to another level, or what impact did it have?
Well, I am always someone who sets goals. So, of course,
Yes.
originally my goal was I just want to win a state title and I want to experience a national pageant. But then I made the top 16 at a national pageant and my mind started turning a little bit more. And I thought, wow, do I maybe have a shot at trying this again someday?
Hmm.
But really, I think that it just, when you do receive a crown, it does give you just the platform to be interviewed and, share your story across so many platforms. Whereas when maybe you don't have, a crown on your head, it can be a little more difficult to get those opportunities. So immediately when I was crowned, I wanted to share that with the Crohn's and colitis community, because in our community, you don't see a lot of beauty queens that, have Crohn's and colitis, and it's really just not talked about. So I was so excited because I had found that the second runner up from Mrs. International 2020, Ashley Gibson, was also a Crohn's and colitis warrior. And I was just so excited that for 2 years in a row, there was a queen on a national stage talking about Crohn's and colitis, because it's just not talked about. And really that's our goal as the IBD community, is to get people to understand this is an invisible illness and we need to talk about it, whether you know someone that has Crohn's and colitis or you're dealing with symptoms yourself. Because also, I think a lot of people don't understand that digestive issues can be extremely serious and you need to tend to them, because if you're not caring for yourself now, it's going to cause a lot of problems. And unfortunately, our diet and our lifestyle in America is causing a lot of the illnesses we actually have. And so it also kind of starts a discussion about how accountable do you need to be held for your own health, and what do you need to do in conjunction with doctors or, whoever it is that's helping you. What can you do to meet that middle to make sure you're living a healthy lifestyle? You know, because strictly they say, most Americans are sick, they just don't know it. And that was a really powerful statement, because when I look back at pictures now and I look at how I was feeling, and then I look at how I wasn't paying attention to my digestive health, I mean, it really makes sense. It's like, wow, I was sick
Wow.
and I didn't know it. And then I just immediately landed up in the hospital. And what I try to advocate for is, do you want to wait until you're in the hospital like I was, or do you want to maybe fix things now before you end up like me? Because I've had so many of my own friends message me and say, hey, listen, I'm experiencing, X, Y, and Z with my digestive health. What do you think it could be? Because I'm not getting answers. Because so often you will go to a doctor and they will either throw a prescription medication at you and they will try to treat you with the symptoms, and they don't try to treat you as the person. And nobody ever says, have you checked your diet? What are you eating? So I had to really
Wow.
approach this
Wow.
holistically, and I had to use Western medicine, and I kind of had to do my own research and mix all three to see what was going to be the best lifestyle for me. But thank goodness, knocking on wood, it's kept me in surgical remission, and I've been in remission for over a year. And now my goal is to keep it that way, but to also share how I'm staying in remission and the changes you absolutely have to make if you're dealing with a chronic illness, because it can be very debilitating.
Well, you are a light of inspiration, Sarah. Oh my goodness. You are such a wonderful, amazing, and I told you I'm going to say it right 500 times. Amazing.
That's okay. I mean, I'm
So,
not going to say I don't like hearing it. This is my Monday, so.
listen, you are so awesome, and just again so proud of you. I got to ask you, listen, what's next for you? Like, are you going to be competing? Like, and now don't say now if you're not allowed to say it just yet. It's okay, but I got I got this sense that you might want to continue on into something else. So is that possibly in the horizon?
It absolutely is. I am definitely, when I crown the next beautiful Mrs. New Jersey International, whoever that may be, I'm going to take some time. It's been very difficult coming back from still in a pandemic, but coming back from virtual learning. I think if you ask any teacher this year, we feel like it's April and it's only December because it really impacted our students and in a very negative way, unfortunately. So it's like picking up a very big mess that was made that we have to try to fix and stay ahead of now. So teachers are tired. So the start of our school year has been very stressful, which for me, I've been trying to manage because my daughter is on a competitive gymnastics team. I'm Mrs. New Jersey International. We have a house that we care for. I am a full-time teacher trying to keep up. I have 27 students in a Title I public school, so we don't always get the most resources. And it's just, I'm somebody who likes to do things 100%. So often I find I'm not sitting down for the first time until 9 o'clock at night because I need to take care of my students. I need to take care of my daughter. I have things around the house I need to do. I'm running my IBD Heroes page. And so I think for a while, we are looking to possibly, if God allows it, maybe add another addition to our family. We do only have Marin. And one big thing that when I was very sick, that was a goal, was to get pregnant and have another baby. Thank goodness it didn't happen because with all of my health issues, that would have never been a possibility. And so I think it's just about spending some time with my husband and daughter again, getting that family time in, focusing a little bit more on my career. I would like to go back to school to get my principal certification, possibly become an assistant or principal somewhere. And I think take a couple years off from pageantry, but I definitely think you will see me again and absolutely on a national stage. That will be my goal.
Well, that I have no doubt. We're gonna see you on a national platform. Listen, I listen TED Talk. Listen, whatever your goal is, I have no doubt. Listen, your name's already on the marquee, Sarah.
Well,
It's
thank
already
you.
there. It's already there. So,
TED
so
Talk is big for me. So it's so funny you said that because that was another goal. I was like, I'm putting that on my vision board. I got to be a TED Talk at a TED Talk one day as a speaker. So
everyone, we didn't even talk about that. I'm telling you, talking to Sarah, I sensed it. I saw it. I didn't just hear it. I saw it. When you were talking, I saw you on this national platform. So just letting you know, but just so amazing. So proud of you. What, oh my goodness. Is there more on your vision board that you're able to share with us? Because you shared so much with us already, but is there anything else that you would love to achieve, that you're planning to achieve in this journey of yours?
I think one of the big things one of the goals I've always had, other than, owning a home or, that, I mean, we do live in a townhome / condominium. So one thing we have on my vision board right now is a nice single home. Growing up in apartments and very small communities that were always like row homes. And, my husband and I, because my husband comes from the same situation. He came from a divorced family, financially growing up, he did not have a lot. And we've worked really hard as a couple to get where we are. We adore our parents, but, nothing was handed to us. We had to work very hard to get to where we are. And our goal is to also help our daughter, Marin, understand how to stay humble, because we were very humbled growing up. She's growing up with a completely different life than we did. She has 2 loving parents at home who adore her. She gets a lot of the things. I mean, she's already been to Disney World. I didn't go to Disney World until I was 13. My husband, his first time going to Disney World was in his 30s. So Marin has really gotten a great life, but she is humble. I teach her, you could be a kid sick in a hospital and, not getting toys for Christmas or not being able to be with mommy and daddy for Christmas. And so we have those moments where we help her to understand she's very blessed. And I want her to grow up, understanding what kindness is, and volunteering and giving back is very big. But one of the biggest things on my vision board is TED Talk, motivational speaker. I've thought about writing a book before, as well as, taking a school that might be really struggling and helping to turn that school around. I think I would like to lead a school to do that, especially within Philadelphia. And that's probably one of my biggest goals moving forward after, having to give up the crown in April.
Wow. Wow. Listen, I can't wait to see your vision come to life because I know it is, Sarah. I know, I have no doubt it is. So listen, would you change anything about your journey thus far? You can go back and change anything. Would you go back and change it?
No, I used to be someone in my early 20s going through high school that always had pity parties for herself. If I had a bad situation happen to me, I would always be like, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? God, what did I do wrong? And I've learned that it was never God. It was me. It was me and the way I was handling the situation, the way that I was looking at it. And now I've also learned that God's gotten me through life this far. So even when I start to have those little sense of worry or I'm nervous, I look at what I have been through and I'm like, Sarah, if you have gotten this far, you will be just fine. Do not stress. And I really wouldn't, because I feel like if you were to change maybe one even small moment or day, I might not have ended up here. And I'm so happy with where I am in life right now with my husband. I have a beautiful, healthy daughter. I have a home. I have a full-time job. I have 27 amazing, I don't even call them students because they're just my kids. Every year they're my kids.
Right.
I work with the most amazing and resilient educators. I mean, when you work with Philadelphia public school teachers, you're working with a whole different breed of people. You know that they are not there for the money, they are there for the kids because the conditions we work under can be extremely poor. So really, I just don't think I would change anything. And I really wouldn't change anything with pageantry. All those times I was never crowned because like I said, this past year was my year to be Mrs. New Jersey International. And I feel like it wouldn't have been my moment at any other year. And I'm just very, very thankful for everything. I wouldn't be where I am today without everything that I've gone through.
Awesome. One more question I gotta ask you. How would you encourage someone who may be going through, whether it's bullying or a physical disease or an internal disease or just difficulty in life? What would you say to them to encourage them to not give up on their dream?
I think the biggest thing I've learned through all of it, bullying, being in the hospital, is don't be scared. I used to be terrified of people and what they thought of me, and I was so scared to speak up. No, thank you. I truly just want everyone to know that no matter what you're going through, although having a positive mindset, have moments where you're going to get frustrated, where life keeps knocking you down and you keep getting back up and then it immediately knocks you back down. But at the end of the day, advocate for yourself and do not feel bad for putting yourself first. Often when my husband and I plan a lot of date nights, people go, oh my goodness, how do you find the time? The kids, I say, because if my husband and I are not doing well together, then how are we going to be as parents? And that's kind of the reason I give. When someone goes, well, how do you find the time? I make time. I make time for myself, whether it's in the morning and I'm waking up at 4:30 to have that hour of alone time, whether it is taking an hour to go to the gym just to release my stress. I make that time because I have to put myself first and learn how to say no. Your true friends and family will not get angry at you for saying no. If you are feeling overwhelmed and you think you need a night off, take the night off. Everyone will still be your friend in the morning, and put yourself first and advocate for yourself 100%, whether you're being bullied, whether you are, in the middle of being diagnosed or undiagnosed and you're frustrated, not getting answers. And the beautiful thing about the internet is you have the world at your fingertips. So research and do what you can to find support groups or communities that you can join that will help be supportive for you in whatever journey it is you are going through.
Awesome, Sarah. Listen, is there more you want to share with us?
No, I'm so scared I'm going to lose power again. So I just want to leave it there and just thank you so much for having me, Troy. You really are just amazing. You yourself are an inspiration. So it truly was an absolute honor to be here tonight.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Is there anyone that you want to acknowledge, and where can we find you on social media?
So of course I have to acknowledge my amazing New Jersey International Sisterhood, my Miss New Jersey, Andriana, my Miss Garden State, Jacqueline, Mary and Kim, my amazing directors, the international family, Mary Richardson, and that just the entire international family, because without them, I wouldn't be here. And just, of course, my family and friends. I know my dad, my mom, and all my amazing coworkers, just all the amazing people that have supported me in my life. My best friend, Shauna, that poor girl has been at every pageant. So you can imagine her excitement when she finally heard my name. And just, my husband and daughter. I'm thankful for everyone in my life. I truly am. My medical team that helps me get here at Virtua, and just God. God has really gotten me, and he's helped me to cope with the things I've gone through in life and become the woman I am today. So I'm just incredibly grateful for the community around me, and I can't wait to see what is next.
Wonderful. And where can people find you on social media?
So you can follow all of the amazing Crohn's and colitis patient stories on Instagram. Our handle is at IBD Heroes. I have my Mrs. NJINTL page on Instagram. That is my title holder page. And then, of course, my personal page, which is sarah.may.campbell on Instagram.
Everyone, I'm telling you, New Jersey International 2021, Sarah Campbell, thank you so much, Sarah. You are such a joy and inspiration. We appreciate you. Thank you, humbled and honored. We got to have you back at some point in your journey, because I know you're going to be on TED Talk. So I can't wait to
You'll
talk
be the
about
first
that.
person I tell when that moment happens.
Oh, awesome. Listen, and whatever I can do, Sarah, to support you in your journey, please don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to reach out to me, message me, because I'm a fan of you. I am a supporter of you. You are that amazing, and I'm so proud of you. Yes, thank you. And I can't wait to get our photo shoot at some point, hopefully one day.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me, Troy, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And I am just very thankful that you took the time to interview me tonight.
It's an honor. Everybody, again, Sarah Campbell. This is Inspiration with Troy Alexander. Every week, we come on to encourage you. What our motto is: dream, take that step, and walk with purpose into your destiny. Every week, hold on to your dream. And I'm going to end on this. Go get your dream. Have a good night. Thank you, Sarah. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.